I must add, they clone people from all walks of life there, and chain them down to stainless steel corpse tables, or drug them so they can't move, send people into the room dressed up as aliens, Hollywood quality makeup, and make them think they're having an alien abduction. They even dye chicken skin gray and stretch it over a mask for realism, perform medical experiments on them, cutting them up, perverts anal probing them, and raping their limp bodies. These victims wake up and think they've been abducted by aliens, but don't know where to turn, and are embarrassed. The victims even sometimes try to videotape themselves while they sleep, to prove they've been taken, to no avail. They're not taken, they've been cloned by the most disgusting perverts in the world. The scum even videotape these abductions, to watch later as sick demented porn. This happens more often than you can imagine. They just keep doing it to random people over and over and over. They've offered me clone slaves to keep me quiet. Any of the prettiest women I've ever seen, any girl from the high school, even children. I do the right thing, and spit in their faces, jam my fingers into their eyes, but they have some way of turning off their pain receptors there. Not much will hurt them other than getting dirt or vomit in a wound, or bleeding out too much. It only costs them time and money to grow new bodies. I started smearing excrement in their faces. I've never handled feces in my real life before, but I do this there, and even that doesn't deter them. I made a song for One Republic referring to it called All the Right Moves. The lyrics say all the right friends, in all the right places, all the right moves and all the right faces. I've made so many songs, it's ridiculous. Rock, pop, rap, country. There are so many people involved in it, it's staggering. The organization is vast. The only thing they fear is nuclear war, the new and improved lie detector test, and this letter. For those of you thinking Queen Elizabeth looks like a kindly little old lady, and this can't be true, you couldn't be more wrong. She is the worst human being I have ever seen or heard of. It's so sad to see these women and children brought there, sitting in the center, naked, afraid, crying, raped and beaten for sport of the rich and famous. I of course can't bring myself to be a part of it. Fief Dobson, singer and Kurt Russell, actor, told me specifically to include in my letter that they don't like the place and didn't torture me, then said not to mention them, but I just have. Mila Kunis, actress from that 70s show, recently stabbed me a bunch of times while I was rendered immobile for saying she's a slimy scumbag for hanging with these people, and saying she has enormous eyeballs and looks like a lemur, then begged me not to mention her. Then said she doesn't want to go to the clone zone anyway, and she left, her body going limp, and looking dead. She was gone. These people are allowed to leave, but not me. I'm an imprisoned slave, in the worst nightmare situation. I told Nickelodeon Madonna that I was going to tell everyone what she used to do to me for songs throughout my life. She told me very specifically to say in my letter here she is not afraid no one will believe me, and nothing will come of this. I beg you to help me prove her wrong. I am a Christian, God-fearing man. They tell me there is no God, only science and technology. They are responsible for the death of young beauty pageant girl Jean Bennett Ramsey. Her parents are in this. Casey Anthony's daughter, Casey Anthony, and her parents are in this. Many others. Recently a man had his wife killed. It's on the news now. The Asian woman, her rich husband had her killed, said she was responsible for his son's death. Elizabeth says rich people in this organization don't go to jail, they are covered for. Steven Spielberg, George Lucas members. George had them light me on fire for the end of his movie Revenge of the Sith. Said he wanted Hayden Christensen to scream realistically. Hayden watched me listen to me scream and groan in pain, and copied the sounds exactly. He knows all about it. As does Natalie Portman, and a quarter of the cast. Many directors have used me like that, in a role-playing situation, cause me some kind of excruciating pain just to see what kind of squeak or screech I will make. As if I were less than a dog. Then when I'm a bloody mess on the floor they crawl on my broken body, and sodomize me, saying something like they love me, and can't control themselves, because I made all their favorite songs, and I'm so special. Broken ribs, bending, and internal bleeding. Me crying, or screaming if I am able, but they just keep on going, and they videotape this so they can view it again like evil pornography. Children, they bring their need a familiar face to talk to, or all they do is scream and cry. That is where Joy Geyser comes in. She is married to my half-brother from my father's first marriage. Joy Geyser is a Girl Guide leader, and when they clone in Girl Guide she speaks to them, keeps them calm, and pretty much pimps them for free, knowing the children will have their memories repressed, and will not talk about it in real life. All the geysers are in this stuff. Many people that could also be polygraph tested, independent polygraph testers, because the police testers in my city of Halifax, Nova Scotia are compromised. They cover up for child molesters. As I said, commissioners and CSIS are heavily involved. All it will take is a few lie detector tests to prove these things. I will take them and demand my mother and stepfather submit to them as well. It would be as easy as they've told me they won't even attempt to lie on a polygraph. Please don't consider this the ramblings of a crazy person. It is absolute truth. My life and the lives and freedom of many people are depending on this document. They say the world finding T about cloning will set the stage for the end of the world in 2012. They're big into Nostradamus and prophecy. Said I'm the Antichrist because he is supposed to have a powerful weapon of our internet. And this letter I send everywhere over the internet is like a weapon over the airwaves and will cause Armageddon. But something must be done. You can't understand unless you've been there just how terrible this is. The level of depravity and subhuman cruelty is beyond anything that has ever been heard of, and there is much more to tell. Ignore this and you condemn me to a horrible eventual death, and will encourage them that they are all powerful. This is not an exaggeration. I don't need to exaggerate. There is still much more to tell. Even President Obama is involved with these people. He and his wife go to these gatherings. They thought up a sick joke there. They and their administration set up a low-level flight of Air Force One over New York City sometime after the 9/11 World Trade Center bombing, simply to terrify people. Just because they could. Told people afterwards it was a photo opportunity for their plane, but no pictures were taken. They had the emergency calls of frightened people brought to the clone place, listened to them, and laughed hysterically. People yelling out Al-Qaeda has more planes calling emergency lines, lots of calls from terrified people. Then looked at me and said, Donnie, we are all powerful. If we can do this, and nothing comes of it, how are you going to be able to get us? You are our slave, and the people here won't speak up for you for fear of torture and death. Now make us a new song or we'll gut you like a fish and leave you to writhe in agony. This is so important. It's all God's honest truth, I swear to you. Please help me for pity's sake. I realize what this sounds like, but I can only say what I know. It's supposed to sound absurd. It's their best offense. They've chained me to a cross and cut me up, burned me, and stuff like a crucifixion with extra torture, while they all watch blank faces, some crying, some just staring at their feet, some actually masturbate in their seats, while this is going on and I'm screaming. Don't seem to get tired of it, like it's some kind of religious ceremony. My email address is Donnie865@hotmail.com. Message me please, and I will tell you where I am, and will tell everything in person on camera. Will take lie detector tests myself, and I have proof this is real. I will be tortured there badly for sending you this. I might die for blanketing the world with this message. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's simply what is happening. What you are looking at right now is the most important document that has ever been put on the internet. Do nothing, and allow them to continue to clone your children and sisters and wives' sons, causing them to have learning disabilities, unexplained depression, and suicidal thoughts, all kinds of side effects. This importance of this is so heavy, people. It's the most terrible thing in the world, and this is your only chance to do something about it. Don't be afraid. Help me help myself and others. This is part 1 period. I will make part 2 including the massive amount of names of people that go there. They're going to make an example of me there to show what happens to people that talk about cloning, and have been. Do not waste this knowledge. I am going through a man-made living hell for this. It is my only hope, and the only hope of many people imprisoned there. I sincerely beg you. Donald Marshall.